Hi, Jackie here with your thought for the day. I was thinking that as we come out of lockdown, that there may be some of us that may experience some mental health issues, or we may find ourselves looking after someone who has mental health issues that is close to us. And I just want to talk a little bit about some of the things that helped me during a time in my life where I was looking after someone who had mental health issues. That was my husband, and he had burnout at the time, and he was really unwell. He couldn't go out. He was on high medication. He was off work, and he was at home. And we just sold our house, and so we were having to live with relatives at the time. And I had two children, 9 and 11. And what helped me through that time was keeping things as normal as possible for the children. So just keep their routine. Keep my routine as far as was possible for me to do that, and that just really helped, having that sense of routine throughout that. Another thing that helped was guarding who I spoke to. This happened 18 years ago, and so there was a lot of stigma around mental health at the time. Thankfully, that isn't the case now. We can openly talk about it, which is really good, really healthy. And so I had to guard who I spoke to, and it wasn't helpful to have speculations about our future because my husband's job at that time was at stake. And so just people knowing who I could speak to and that was going to be positive, that really helped us to get through that time, and not to take on people that maybe would be a little bit negative about that. I found just other people's advice. So someone randomly, it was my hairdresser actually, who knew someone who'd been through this situation, just said something that really helped, that the person that is unwell is not themselves at the time, and they can be completely different to what they are normally. And that really helped me to have a perspective on how my husband was, and to lower expectations in our relationship. So he was emotionally distant through that time, and he wasn't himself at all. And so that really helped me just to get through that time and have that perspective of not expecting what he couldn't do or couldn't be at that time. And also once he was getting better, it was just allowing him to be. So we would do things where he could just be. That looked like going out to coffee shops where there wasn't many people, or going out for a walk because he was beginning to get better and recover. I found that having the perspective of time, that when someone's suffering mental health, it's not instant, is it? It's a process, and just allowing time. It can feel like life stops, but just to have that perspective that this is just going to take time, and not to get frustrated with that, but just to allow that time. And then allow for post-traumatic stress for yourself. I experienced that. We had to move house, we had to leave our friends, to move area, and didn't have a lot of time to grieve over those losses. And so I found I had a reaction. We were renting a house because of my husband's health. We couldn't purchase a house at the time, so we were renting a house in a new place and new town. And I just had a reaction. I physically ended up collapsing on the drive, and it was a full-blown panic attack, being taken to hospital. And it had never happened to me before. And but to be kind, just to be kind on yourself, and not to be hard on yourself in those times, and to recognise that it's a natural thing that can happen. And I found that what helped was to put things behind, so to not look to the past, but to look to the future. And there's some verses that really helped in the Bible, because what happens is that your values come to the surface when you go through circumstances like that. And I found these words really helpful. It says this, and these describe what God is like. Love is patient and kind. Love is not jealous or boastful or proud or rude. Love does not demand its own way. Love is not irritable. It keeps no record of when it has been wronged. It is never glad about injustice, but rejoices whenever the truth wins out. Love never gives up. Never loses faith. It's always hopeful and endures through every circumstance. Love will last forever. And those values were really key as I recognised that that's what God is like, and they were a strength through that time. So things like, you know, time feeling like life stops, and well, it says love is patient, love never gives up, love never loses faith. You know, when my husband wasn't himself, and I had to adjust my expectations, love is not irritable. It keeps no record of being wronged. So those values that are what God is like really just strengthened and helped to walk through that time. And those are my thoughts for you today, and my prayer for you, that as you go forward, and as we deal with some of the fallout maybe of this lockdown, that you will know, firstly, that the nature of God's love and the strength of that, and have that experience for you, and also that you'd know those values that you can share and show that love for others, and have that strength for others as we come out of lockdown down. So God bless you, and be encouraged, and have a good rest of day.